It was late September, and my family was doing our final weekend camping trip of the year at Diablo Lake in Washington. There was only one other group camping near our site, and they were a bunch of rowdy college kids, so Mom and Dad let us kids run wild without fear of the ranger kicking us out. It was great to have the freedom of pure energy being released at full throttle. Our first night camping there was exciting and fun. Dad told us tales about the area we were camping in, all meant to make us scream around the campfire. Stories about people drowning in the lake and their ghosts haunting the shores, demonic red lights moving through the tree line at night, a lake monster hiding in the bright turquoise waters, and the usual Sasquatch stories. All of us kids were between 10 and 17 years old, so we knew these were just stories. But everything becomes possible for that moment in the dark woods by the campfire. Not too far away, we heard a loud whoop coming from the direction of the college kids' camp. It was the first noise we had heard from them, and Dad responded with his own whoop, and all of us kids joined in, giggling and whooping like maniacs. I'm sure the college kids thought we were a pack of hyenas out there. Eventually, we went to sleep in our big old family tent. We had to squish in tight since we weren't so little anymore, but it was warm. Morning came fast, and we were up and going right at daybreak, loading up on syrup-soaked pancakes, hot chocolate, and bacon before starting our adventures for the day. Mom and Dad set up a small picnic area on the beach and rested in some chairs under the shade of some pine trees near the shore. For the first couple of hours, we spent our time playing along the shore, waiting for it to warm up a little bit to swim. It was nearing lunch when we brought our kayaks and inner tubes out to go explore the lake. My brother and I manned the kayaks while our little brother and sister rode on the inner tubes behind us. We brought some snacks with us to have our own mini parent-free picnic on one of the other shores. We did a loop of the area, talking about the lake monster that was going to eat the tubers' toes, until we reached the beach near the college kids' campsite. Their shore was quiet and empty when we beached the kayaks to have our snacks. My brother and I had ulterior motives for wanting to stop at their shore. Teenage hormones gave us the chemical courage to walk on that beach, him shirtless and in cargo shorts and me in a bikini, to possibly meet those college kids. My poor brother was still scrawny at 15 years old, but I was 17 in my prime, clearly an adult in my teenage mind. We stayed there for quite some time waiting to see the glorious college bodies emerge from the woods, but they never came. We heard footsteps once and we quickly struck our movie stars working on our tans poses, but nobody emerged from the woods. By the time our siblings started complaining about being bored, the chemical courage had subsided and we realized that we were just being a pair of doofuses on the beach. I set my scrunchie on the rock beside me to give me a reason to come back without my brother later. I thought maybe I would have better luck if I came back solo. We reached Mom and Dad's picnic spot on the shore and enjoyed our lunch with them. After we were done eating, it was time to hatch my plan and go back to the college kids' beach. I ran to the kayak and made a quick getaway before anybody could ask to join me. I quickly paddled up the shoreline until I got close, slowing down to compose myself and get ready just in case they were there. Disappointment filled me as I neared the empty shore. It was still quiet in the woods, and I wondered if they were even there anymore. I beached my kayak and went to the rock to retrieve my scrunchie, blindly reaching down to grab it, lost in my own thoughts. I screamed when my hand touched something moist and slimy. I looked down, and there was a rainbow trout with a smashed head next to my scrunchie. Horrified, I looked around for the culprit of the trout smashing until my eyes rested on a hairy old man sitting on a stump about 50 yards away. Scared because of the oddness of the situation, I turned and hurried back to my kayak without really looking at the man. Once I was safely in my kayak and away from the shore, I looked back and I realized it wasn't a man. I've seen hairy shirtless men at the fair that us kids called Bigfoot or Yeti depending on the hair color, but this really was one of them. He was tall, probably nearly 8 feet, and covered in long silvery hair with pale skin on his face. He took long, easy strides to the rock where my scrunchie was and picked it up along with the fish. He held both out in front of him in a sort of, "Here," gesture, and I shook my head. He sat down on the rock, his eyes following me as I paddled slowly away from the shore. As I neared the point where I wouldn't be able to see the shore anymore, he lifted a hand. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I raised my hand back at him. The last I saw of him was his back as he stood up and strode into the forest by the shore. It's been 20 years since this happened to me, but I think about it often. I didn't feel threatened, but I was still scared because nothing in life prepares you for a meeting like this. I'm sure it was a him because there was no breast, and he seemed masculine. He wasn't an albino because he had dark eyes and the hair had a gray tinge, like from old age rather than a lack of pigment. When I think about his demeanor and his gift of a trout, I can't help but believe he just wanted to communicate with me. Looking back, I wish I had stayed out in the water and in sight of the shore longer, but at least I did raise my hand back at him. Thanks for watching Squatchable Campfire Stories. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think about this story in the comments section. Have you heard any stories about Bigfoot trying to communicate with people? Would you try to talk to one if you had a chance? Let us know, and I'll see you in the comments section.